everybody, the lawn gnome is here.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome everybody to the newest installment of the great Star Wars Throwback project. And today I am so excited because we are finally at this point in one of the greatest film sagas of all time, although when we take a look at its sequels it could be debatable. We are finally up to what is known as the movie that changed cinema for all time, and that of course is George Lucas's 1977 classic film Star Wars, which is now known as Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Sir Alec Guinness, Peter Cushing, and of course, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, and the voice of James Earl Jones as the legendary villain of film, Darth Vader. So, what can I say about this epic, legendary film that paved the way for science fiction, fantasy, and even shaped the rest of the movie world for grandeur, gravitas, and epicness? I could start off by telling you guys how I first discovered Star Wars. It really was when I went to Disney World and went on Star Tours and really didn't know much about what Star Wars was. And then a couple of weeks after my vacation in Florida, I wanted to go to the video store and rent the movie Three Ninjas. Now that I look back, what a stupid idea. And I was very upset that this video store didn't have it. And I was upset. I was pitching a fit. I was crying. My mom saw the VHS of Star Wars and said, wow, this might shut him up. And she goes, do you remember Star Tours in Disney World? Well, here's the movie that this was based on. Why don't you watch that? And I was reluctantly saying, okay. And then when I popped it in, and I watched it and saw C-3PO and R2-D2 for the first time, remembering that they made a couple of appearances on Sesame Street, I was officially hooked, and the rest is history. Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope is without a doubt a landmark in all of film, but after seeing 8 Star Wars films connected to this specific Star Wars storyline, minus the 2 spin-offs that we've received in recent years, I will say after seeing it for, I have no idea if this is the 1 bazillionth time, because I've seen this movie way too many times, I can quote it line for line. It is not the best film in the series, but it is definitely far from being the worst. This movie is fun. It is exciting. It has great comedy, great action, even a little bit of romance, banter between Han Solo and Princess Leia, which is absolutely fun to watch. And it was also a very interesting moment for women in film because Princess Leia, you know, when you think of a princess, you think of a well-kept, well-spoken woman. This woman's got a mouth. This woman's fresh. This woman knows how to carry a laser pistol and shoot down stormtroopers. Good for her. She really gave us the ultimate female action star in film. Even though we even had characters like Wonder Woman in the comic books, she was definitely one of the few that gave us more heroic female leads. Everyone from Ripley in Alien to Lara Croft in Tomb Raider video games. Also, you had a whole bunch of styles of filmmaking that we had never seen before. The space battles were absolutely fantastic. Of course, seeing all of the makeup and the prop work for the practical effects and all the interesting creatures, the massive use of robots for the droids, so many different things that make this movie fantastic. And of course, the lightsabers. Oh man, just seeing the lightsabers for the first time was fantastic, but every single time that Luke Skywalker picks up that lightsaber, it is such an amazing thing. And of course, the story is great. It picks up 19 years after Revenge of the Sith. Darth Vader and the Empire now rule the galaxy, and it is all up to this farm boy named Luke Skywalker who has no idea who he is at the moment, but he discovers Obi-Wan Kenobi, who we discussed in the previous Throwback projects, and trying as best as he can not to really give him too much information. He knows what Luke Skywalker is, he knows what he's supposed to become, and he starts shaping him into the great Jedi Knight that he is to be at the end of this specific trilogy. Also meeting all of his friends along the way, like Princess Leia, Chewbacca, Han Solo. Just so much fun to watch these characters fight the forces of evil, fight for the rebellion, and of course get to the point where they have to fly fly in to destroy the first Death Star. Also, Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin is absolutely great. He is so evil. And sometimes I think he's even more evil than Darth Vader. And of course, Darth Vader. The look, the voice, the heavy breathing. You know, as someone who comes off now with all the jokes of him being the asthmatic villain, he definitely does not seem threatening when he does that heavy breathing. And I think what's even more interesting is as the story goes on, we learn why the heavy breathing is, and it's very, very interesting and of course an integral part of the story. Also, the grand score from John Williams is what truly moves this film alongside everything else. It is just such an amazing score. The main theme, the Star Wars Cantina scene, the binary sunset, everything is beautiful, and of course the score, like the films, are only going to evolve as the story continues. Now, one of the few things that I do want to say is, I am not, let me repeat, I am not going to discuss with any of you my thoughts on all of the changes that George Lucas has made over time. Yes, I have seen the original 1977 cut, and I did see it in theaters with the very first special edition in 1997. But I will say, knowing who George Lucas is, what he tried to do with his films, knowing that in 1977 he didn't have all the technology that he wanted to tell his complete story, the fact that he did go back, clean up the film, and make these additional scenes, I personally feel that it was good, it was necessary, and I don't care who shot first, okay? Let me make that clear. I don't give a rat's ass, and I don't want to discuss this with any of you because it is pointless gibberish, and if this is something that still gets your goat, get laid, for crying out loud, because it's just so meaningless and stupid. It's not your movie, it's George Lucas's movie, and he has the right to do whatever the hell he wants. Did he go a little bit overboard with the Blu-ray releases? I will say yes, but for what it is, and especially with the copy that I have, I personally love the way the film looks as a whole, and the same can be said for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because it just fits with the lineage and the completeness of the story. And I'll go into a little bit more detail if you like next year when I discuss the last two films in the original trilogy. But the downside of Star Wars A New Hope is, I just feel that some of the acting is not perfect and some of the dialogue is a little bit half-assed. There's just some dialogue that just doesn't really come off as deep, as full of emotion. It just seems like a 6-year-old wrote some of those lines sometimes. And unfortunately, that's what I've said so many times about George Lucas. He's not a good script writer. He's a great storyteller, but when you take a look at movies like The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, you'll totally understand where I'm coming from. But this is still a strong film. I mean, it's the one that started it all. It's a great film to watch. It's too much fun. Watch it on the biggest screen that you can. And I am going to give Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope 3.5 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Another great episode of the Great Star Wars Throwback Day. I hope you enjoyed it. Please put your comments in the box below. Let me know what you want to discuss about Star Wars. I'll give you guys links to the last 3 episodes, including my reviews of all the other Star Wars movies thus far. And I am looking forward to 2019 when I am going to give you guys the final installments of the Great Star Wars Throwback Day, which of course is The Empire Strikes Back on Memorial Day and The Return of the Jedi on Christmas Day, and of course, yes, there will also be a review for Episode 9. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.